Hey, hi all. This is Viresh, and I'm going to take up a small chapter that is a government company. This is applicable for IPCC level as well as CA final level. At IPCC level, you can expect a discrete descriptive type of question, but for CA final, you can expect a MCQ type of question from this chapter. There is a recent amendment as well that also we will discuss in this next 15 to 20 minutes, and be with me for next 15-20 minutes. I will explain you the definition of a government company in a simple and a lucid manner, and why this chapter is gains importance suddenly, because one reason is there is an amendment. Another reason is if you can see in the government policies, and they're trying to privatize almost all the fields, banking sector, as well as they are having some plans to this privatize the Vizag Steel as well. So this provision got an attention very recent days. Maybe institute may ask a question from this chapter because of these reasons. So let's start the government companies chapter. So what is a government company? If I ask you a question, whether ONGC is a government company, and you will immediately say, yes, it's a government company. BHEL is a government company, yes, it's a government company. And ECIL is a government company. So how are you saying it's a government company? So what is the basis for it? Companies Act has provided a specific reason and specific definition for to call a particular company as a government company, to call a particular company as a non-government company. So what is the definition? The definition of government company is there in section 2 subsection 45 of the Companies Act. You can remember this subsection. How you remember? So you know section 2 subsection 47 is a foreign company definition. So foreign company definition is very important for CA final level. So every attempt there is a question on that definition part. So section 2 subsection 47 anyhow you will remember. If you just remove 47, that is 47, this is 45, just minus 2. Section 2 subsection 45 is government company definition. Okay, let's see the definition. As per section 2 subsection 45 of the Companies Act, government company means any company in which not less than 51% of paid up share capital held by central government, state government or governments, or partly by central government, partly by one or more state governments. So what is the combination? Let's see. First of all, 51% of the paid up share capital structure, take the 51 total capital into 51%. That 51% should be held by either central government alone, or central government or state government combination, or multiple state governments. If any of these combinations is having more than 51% of the capital structure in any company, that company will become automatically a government company. This is the definition provided in section 2 subsection 45. And they said one more category of company, that is subsidiary of a government company is also a government company. How do you say subsidiary? More than 51% of the share capital held by the holding company, then it becomes a subsidiary company of that company. So there is no necessity that it should be a wholly owned subsidiary. What is the meaning of wholly owned subsidiary? 100%. So examiner will confuse you by saying that this company is not a wholly owned subsidiary, but it is a subsidiary, whether it's a government company or not. It's a government company. If it is holding by 51% or more paid up share capital, then it's a government company. That is the definition of government company. So shall we revise again? Yeah. Section 2 subsection 45 of the Companies Act, of which not less than 51% of the paid up capital held by the combination of central government or state government or multiple state government combination, subsidiary of a government company is also a government company. So this is the definition of government company. So let's see the inputs from this definition. There are some keywords here. One is paid up share capital. They just said paid up share capital. Whether this includes equity as well as preference? The answer is yes. They have provided an explanation. This includes equity as well as a preference share capital. Okay. Okay. This includes equity as well as preference share capital. And we have already seen this one, this key point in the definition itself. Subsidiary of a government company is also a government company. It need not be a wholly owned subsidiary. Okay. And the third one, and the most important, and this is the recent amendment, is that you might have heard about section 43. Section 43 is issue of shares with a differential voting rights. What is the differential voting rights? For example, Normally, if you purchase any share in a company, one share if you purchase, you will get a one vote. That means in the AGM, you can go and vote for a particular resolution. Okay, but in differential voting rates, company have a choice to provide voting rates to a shareholder. And company will say, for example, if you purchase 100 shares in one company, and they will say you will get only one voting rate. So this is of section 43. Even though you are holding 100 shares, you will only get a one vote. That is called differential voting rights. The company has a choice. They will say for 10 shares one vote, for 100 shares one vote. Like that, they can have a choice to define. That is the section 43 differential voting rights. And what is the amendment in the government company definition is that if the company issues, as specified in section 43, different shares with the differential voting rights, then to calculate the 51% of the paid-up share capital, we need to take up 51% of the voting power, not the paid-up share capital. Paid-up share capital will become irrelevant there. So, because then it contains the capital structure contains the differential voting rights. I have provided a one illustration also. We can see it later on how exactly the calculation will happen and how exactly we can practical implication of this amendment. We can see that later. As of now, you can remember if there is a shares with the differential voting rates, instead of 51% of the paid-up share capital, we need to take a 51% of the voting power to decide a particular company is a government company or not. Okay, yeah. And I have provided 4 illustrations which are I have combined, and one question is from the previous examination as well. So these 4 questions will make it clear this definition of a government company, and if you could go through this 4, that is more than enough for any level IPCC or final. The maximum you will get questions from this. Okay. And the first question: Sarkari Limited capital structure contains the following: central government, Punjab government, total shareholding 51% by central and state government. Will this be a government company or not? Okay, this is very simple illustration. And what is the definition? Central government or state government, multiple state governments combination. If any one of them having more than 51% of the 51% or more than 51% of the paid-up share capital in any company, that company will become a government company. Here, if you can see, central government is holding 25%, Punjab government is holding 26%, and total shareholding is 51%. Definition says I am just highlighting it here. Definition says any company in which not less than 51%, not less than they have used, not less than means even 51% holding also sufficient to say a company is a government company. Here total shareholding became 51%, so it's a government company. So that is the clue I have given here. You can go through. And I'm moving on to the second illustration. I hope the definition part was very clear now. And this is an examination question. And illustration number 2 is an examination question. Examine with reference to the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 whether Sun Limited and Moon Limited can be considered as a government company or not. So shareholding was given. Central government and government of Himachal Pradesh together holds 40% of paid-up share capital of Sun Limited. And one government company also holds 40% of paid-up share capital of Sun Limited. Now, I will leave it to you. I will give you a minute time now. Tell me whether this is a government company or not. Just go through the definition again and apply the definition here and just decide whether it is a government company or not. This is an examination question. And you see here. Okay, let me explain you. Central government and government of Himachal Pradesh together holds 40% of the paid-up share capital. As per the definition, what is the paid-up share capital limit? 51%. Whether they are holding 51%? No, they are only holding 40%. So this is enough to decide this company is a government company or not. So by this first line, we can say this company is not a government company because it is holding less than 51%. And then the second point is completely irrelevant. One government company holds 40% of paid-up share capital of Sun Limited. Either it is not holding more than 51% to say it is a subsidiary, or it is or it is not holding anything. It is holding 40%, one government company. This doesn't make Sun Limited is a government company. I hope this is very clear. So for example, in the similar example, if I will say this government company holds 51% of paid-up share capital of Sun Limited, then whether it's a government company or not, it's a government company. The reason is subsidiary of a government company is also a government company. If the government company holds 51% of paid-up share capital of Sun Limited, that becomes a subsidiary. For this government company, Sun Limited will become a subsidiary. Subsidiary of a government company is also a government company, so this will become a government company. So this is the first answer to the first point, and you can go through. I have given it clearly and as a clue here by lateral interpretation of definition, section 2, subsection 45. 51% shareholding by central government or state government or governments are only covered. As central government Himachal Pradesh holds only 40%, Sun Limited is not a government company. Government company holding, sorry, it is 30% was written here. It should be 40% here. Please correct it. It should be 40, not 30. In the question you can see 40 here. Please correct it. Okay. And the next point. Moon Limited is subsidiary, but not wholly owned subsidiary of government company. This we have already covered in the definition. Now you tell me whether it's a government company or not. Moon Limited is a government company because there is no condition that it should be a wholly owned subsidiary. Even if 51%, even if you hold 51% to name it as a subsidiary, then also it becomes a government company. So second point is very clear. It's a government company. Okay. I hope you clear on the concept now. Now we will move on to illustration number 3. This is based on the differential voting rates, which is based on the some amendment. Okay, and let's go through this question. B Limited issues shares with differential voting rates is as follows. Yeah, equity share capital of rupees 10 lakhs. There is one vote for one share. This is a normal capital, and this is not differential votes. And point number B, you can see equity share capital with the differential voting rates, rupees 10 each, 10 lakhs. One vote for 10 shares. These are differential voting rates. 10 shares carries only one vote. Preference share capital 20 lakhs. And out of the above, central government and Haryana state government hold some capital in it, and central government holds 2 lakh shares, 2 lakh share capital in normal shares, not with the differential voting rates. 2 lakh share capital they are holding, and similarly they are holding 1 lakh share capital in shares with differential voting rates. Similar way, Haryana also holds something, and Haryana state government also holds the preference share capital of rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, and face value of all category shares is rupees 10. Will this be a government company or not? This question involves some calculations. I will go through the conceptual level here. After completion of this video, and you can go to the description, in the material is available, and calculation in detail with all explanations is provided in the material. You can download and go through. Mainly I will concentrate here the conceptual matter here. Okay. Just to remind you the definition. In the definition, if company issues differential voting rights, what is the, if while calculating the 51% limit, what we need to consider? Paid up share capital or voting power? It is voting power we need to consider, not the paid up share capital. Okay. Accordingly, let's see how the calculation goes. Equity share capital without differential voting rights, equity share capital with differential voting rights, and preference share capital. I divided into the solution into the 3 parts. Okay. If the question asked in the examination you follow the same structure, this will be easy for you to crack this kind of questions. And you can see here equity share capital without differential voting. There is 1 share for 1 vote. This is very straightforward. Central government is holding 2 lakh paid up share capital, and 10 lakh out of 10 lakh paid up share capital they are holding 2 lakhs. So what is the shareholding percentage? Is voting power 20% voting power. Similarly, Haryana state government holds 1 lakh share capital out of 10 lakhs. That gives them 10% voting power. Total becomes 30%. Now, this is important. Equity share capital with the differential voting rights. In differential voting rights, 10 shares carries only 1 vote. So what are the total number of shares? That is 1 lakh shares. 1 lakh shares contains how much of voting power in number of shares? 10,000 shares. Because 10 shares carries only one vote. 1 lakh shares carries 10,000 voting power. That is 10,000 shares. So while calculating the limit, here we need to consider the 10,000 shares in the denominator. Let's see. First, central government holding. Central government is holding 1 lakh share capital. 1 lakh share capital means how many shares? Face value is 10 rupees. That means 10,000 shares. All 10,000 shares gives 10,000 shares worth of voting power? No. One share 10 shares carries only one voting power. That means 10,000 shares carries only 1,000 shares voting power. That means 1,000 by 10,000. You can see the calculation here. 1,000 shares within bracket 10,000 of 10% of 10,000 shares. This central government holding divided by 10,000 shares. 10,000 shares is the total number of shares carries the voting power. Okay, this gives 10% voting power. And similar way, Haryana state government also holds the similar number of shares, and the same calculation, it also gives the 10% voting share. So total how much it became? 20%. So in the first category 30%, in the next category differential voting there's 20%, total became 50%. Now let's come to the preference share capital. Preference share capital doesn't carry any voting rights. So normally equity share capital only carries the voting rights. Preference share capital doesn't carry any voting rights. If it doesn't carry any voting rights, will it be form part of the 51% calculation? No, it won't form part of the 51% calculation. This is a big change. If the company issues the shares with the differential voting rates, preference share capital, we should not consider in calculating the 51% limit. That will be completely excluded. So even though the Haryana state government holds 50% of the paid-up share capital of in B Limited, that becomes irrelevant now. We cannot take it into the consideration for calculation of 51%. So that was the same thing was written here. You can go through. Now, what is the conclusion? Total shareholding 30% plus 20% became 50%. Will this be a government company? No. The limit is 51% or above. So this is not a government company. B Limited is not a government company. You can go through this question because this involves some calculations as well. You can go through this question. Now I'm moving on to another question number 4. With these 3 questions, I think mostly all parts of the government company provisions was covered. Now the 4th question I compiled myself, and this is very unique situation in the question number 4. This was not explored by any either by MCA or by RTP, MTP institute. Nowhere explanation is available. Even I have seen some videos also there in the tutors also not explained much on this concept. So always stress is on the central government and state government. There is another category of states also there in India. What are those? Union territories. What if union territories combinedly holding more than 51% of shares in any of the company? Will that be a government company? This is the unique situation. Question was not came in this area. So let's go through this question. X Limited having capital structure as follows. Pondicherry, Union Territory, holding 20%. Ladakh, Union Territory, holding 10%. Andaman, Union Territory, holding 20%. Delhi, again Union Territory, holding 25%. This is a government company. So here, before going into the answer to this question, and this answer is completely my personal view. And because there is no clear guidance from either from MCA, Corporate Affairs, or from the institute, there is no clarity here. And I have written the same thing here. Till the institute or MCA came up with some clarification on this, you can use this logical conclusion. Okay, the answer is that I didn't get any definition of a government in the Companies Act or anywhere. Now what I did is I refer to the constitution. So whenever there is a doubt, we all should always refer to our constitution only. In the constitution, there is no definition to the word government. Rather, they have given a definition to the word called state in Article 12. So in the normal administrative term, we will use the word as a government. But in the constitutional way of constitutional term is state. So state and government are interchangeable. We will use it interchangeable normally. So Let's see the definition of a state as provided in the Article 12. Article 12 says state includes government, Parliament of India, and other territories within the territory of India are under the control of Government of India. This is a very important point. Other authorities within the territory of India are under the control of the Government of India. So that means the within the territory of India, any states under the control of central government. If you can see the union territories are mostly administered by the lieutenant governor, and those are the administered by the central government only directly. So by a reasonable interpretation, union territories also falls under Article 12 because state and government are interchangeable terms. We can see state and government are interchangeable terms, and state includes other territories under the control of the central government. So union territories also comes under the control of the Government of India. So this we can reasonably say state includes union territories as well. In the similar way, so government includes union territories as well. So even if the union territories combinedly holding in any company more than 51%, that company will also become a government company. That is a reasonable conclusion. Till the time officially some announcement comes, we can use this reasonable conclusion to answer the questions. Okay. So with this, all kinds of questions from government, this government companies chapter was covered here, and this is a summary of study material. You need not refer again study material and again all the materials. I have included most of the points here, and so this is enough to answer for government companies. Now the last category, procedural category. This is annual reports of government companies. As like every company, government company also holds AGM. So in the AGM, after conclusion of the AGM, within 3 months of the AGM, this time limit you need to remember. This may be an important point for MCQs. And within 3 months from the AGM, they have to place the annual reports along with the comments made by Comptroller and Auditor General of India. As you are aware, for government companies, audit can be conducted by the auditor appointed by the CAG. So this annual report will go to the CAG as well. CAG also makes some comments on the annual reports of the government companies. Along with the CAG comments and with the annual report copy to be placed before the central government, both the houses of the parliament, central government, upper house and lower house, both the houses of the parliament, they have to publish this annual report within 3 months of the AGM. What if the state government is also a member of the government company? In that particular case, state government, both the houses of the state legislation, also they have to place the annual reports of the government, annual reports of the government company. So you can see here annual report. Annual report should be placed with both the houses of parliament together with the audit report and comments made by the CAG. Central government should also place annual report in both the houses of state legislature along with the audit report and comments made by CAG. Audit report as well as comments made by CAG. So has to be placed before both the houses of the central government, both the houses of the state government if state government is a member. Okay. What if multiple state governments is a member? So in that case, state governments in their respective state legislature houses, they can place this annual report, CAG comments, and audit report before the houses of the state legislature. Okay. What is the time limit? 3 months from the AGM. Okay. So this is all about government companies. I hope you enjoyed my lecture. You can provide the feedback in the comment section, and for this material link was provided in the description to this video. And if you have any questions, further questions, you can call to me this number, and you can message me on Telegram. And this is my channel. Please subscribe to the channel. And I am going to give you this kind of small videos about corporate law and even for direct access as well in future. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. Signing off. Bye.